the ancient world presents a fascinating paradox, a duality that has intrigued historians and art lovers alike. It is a world where the human form was both revered for its beauty and reviled for its perceived imperfections. On one hand, we see the Greeks, with their emphasis on physical perfection and the idealized human form, striving for an almost divine representation. Their sculptures, often nude, celebrated the beauty, strength, and potential of the human body, capturing it in its most idealized state. On the other hand, the rise of Christianity brought with it a new set of values and a different perspective on the human form. Nudity, once a symbol of purity and strength, became associated with shame and sin, reflecting the changing moral landscape. This essay explores the contrasting attitudes towards nudity in the ancient Greco-Roman world, highlighting the cultural shifts. We will delve into the ways in which the human form was celebrated, particularly in Greek art, and the philosophies behind these artistic choices, and how this contrasted sharply with the views that emerged with the advent of Christianity, marking a significant cultural transition. This journey through time will illuminate the complex and evolving relationship between art, religion, and societal values, offering a deeper understanding of our cultural heritage. The ancient Greeks held a deep appreciation for the human form. This is evident in their art, particularly their sculptures. Greek artists strove to capture the ideal human form, emphasizing proportion, balance, and symmetry. Nudity, far from being seen as shameful, was celebrated as a symbol of beauty, strength, and purity. This celebration of the human form was rooted in the Greek concept of, or competition. The Greeks believed that physical excellence was a reflection of inner virtue and a sign of favor from the gods. Athletes, often depicted nude in Greek art, were highly respected figures in Greek society. Their sculpted forms served as reminders of the importance of physical prowess and the pursuit of excellence. Greek sculptures such as the Spear Bearer by Polykleitos and the by Myron exemplify the Greek idealization of the human form. These sculptures, while capturing the essence of human anatomy, transcended mere realism. They presented an idealized vision of humanity, one that celebrated physical perfection and embodied the Greek values of balance, harmony, and order. These sculptures were not merely aesthetic objects. They were imbued with deeper meaning. They served as embodiments of Greek ideals and aspirations, reflecting a belief in the potential of humanity to achieve greatness. The nudity of these figures was integral to this message, conveying a sense of purity, strength, and unadorned beauty. While the Romans were heavily influenced by Greek art, they brought their own distinct approach to the depiction of the human form. Roman art placed a greater emphasis on realism, often portraying individuals with all their imperfections and idiosyncrasies. This shift in perspective is evident in Roman portraiture, which often captured the unique features and expressions of its subjects, wrinkles and all. This focus on realism reflected the Roman preoccupation with history and legacy. Roman patrons commissioned portraits to commemorate themselves and their families, ensuring that their likenesses, and by extension their accomplishments, would be remembered by future generations. The realism of these portraits served to emphasize the humanity of their subjects, even emperors and generals. Section 5. Material and Subject. The Roman Palette. Roman artists experimented with a wide range of materials, including marble, bronze, terracotta, and even precious metals. This diversity of materials allowed for a greater range of expression and contributed to the distinctive character of Roman art. The Romans were also less concerned with idealization than the Greeks. Their sculptures depicted a wider range of subjects, including everyday people, historical figures, and even animals. The use of different materials and the choice of subjects reflect the pragmatic and eclectic nature of Roman culture. The Romans were less interested in pursuing abstract ideals than in documenting the world around them in all its complexity and diversity. Their art, while still influenced by Greek traditions, developed its own unique character, one that reflected the values and priorities of Roman society. Section 6. The Rise of Christianity, a New Order. The rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire marked a significant turning point in the history of Western art. Early Christians held very different views on the human body than their Greco-Roman predecessors. Influenced by Jewish tradition and the teachings of the Apostle Paul, early Christians believed that the body was a source of temptation and sin. Nudity, once celebrated as a symbol of beauty and strength, became associated with shame and sinfulness. This shift in attitude had a profound impact on the way the human form was depicted in art. The idealized nude sculptures of the classical era were seen as offensive and idolatrous. Many were destroyed, while others were hidden from view or modified to conform to the new religious sensibilities. Section 7. Covering the Body, Shame and Salvation. The early Christian emphasis on modesty and the covering of the body is evident in the art and literature of the period. This cultural shift was a significant departure from the norms of the preceding pagan societies, where nudity was often celebrated and depicted in art. Early Christian writers such as Tertullian and Clement of Alexandria condemned nudity as a sign of paganism and immorality. They believed that the human body, while created by God, should be treated with reverence and not exposed unnecessarily. They argued that the body should be covered as a sign of respect for God and as a reminder of the fall of man. This perspective was deeply rooted in their theological understanding of sin and redemption. This new emphasis on modesty is reflected in the art of the period. Artists began to portray biblical figures and saints in modest attire, emphasizing their piety and devotion. Early Christian art often depicted figures draped in long, flowing robes, concealing their bodies. This style became a visual representation of the community's values and beliefs. Even when figures were depicted nude, as in scenes of baptism or the crucifixion of Christ, there was an effort to avoid any suggestion of eroticism or sensuality. The focus was always on the spiritual and redemptive aspects of these events. The focus shifted from the physical beauty of the body to the spiritual significance of the event being depicted. This shift in artistic focus helped to reinforce the community's values and the importance of spiritual purity. Section 8. Nudity in Art, a Continuing Debate. The contrasting attitudes towards nudity in ancient Greece and Rome and in early Christianity raise important questions about the relationship between art, religion, and societal values. What is considered acceptable or offensive in art is often a reflection of the prevailing moral and cultural climate. The human body as a subject of art has been both celebrated and suppressed throughout history, depending on the context. The debate over nudity in art continues to this day. What some consider to be art, others may view as pornography. The line between what is considered acceptable and what is considered offensive is often blurred and subject to interpretation. Section 9. Conclusion. Shifting Sands of Perception. In conclusion, the ancient world offers a fascinating case study in the evolving perceptions of nudity in art. From the earliest times, humans have used art to express their views on the human form, reflecting broader cultural and societal values. The Greeks, with their emphasis on physical perfection and the idealized human form, celebrated the nude body in their art. Their sculptures of athletes and gods were not just artistic expressions, but also philosophical statements about human potential and beauty. The Romans, while influenced by Greek traditions, developed their own distinct approach, one that emphasized realism and individual portraiture. Their art often depicted real people with all their imperfections, highlighting a different kind of beauty. The rise of Christianity brought with it a new set of values. one that viewed the body as a source of temptation and emphasized modesty and the covering of the body. This shift had a profound impact on the art of the time, leading to more modest representations. The legacy of these contrasting attitudes towards nudity in art continues to shape our own perceptions of the human body and its representation in art. Modern and contemporary artists often grapple with these historical influences, creating works that challenge and reinterpret past norms. By understanding the historical and cultural contexts that shape these views, we can better appreciate the complexities of this ongoing debate. This knowledge allows us to engage more deeply with art and its myriad interpretations, fostering a richer appreciation of its role in human history.